Reconciliation, Melbourne CocoaHeads acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend the respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people today. Cool. Tonight we have some Vision Pro stuff. So it's going to be, Rob's going to do a demo of porting an app to Vision Pro, and you're going to do some other stuff, right? Like, how do you do that? Yeah. And then we're going to have a panel discussion talking about developing for the the Vision Pro with some people that have had some hands-on experience with it and what they think so far. We have a code of conduct at Melbourne CocoaHeads. Our community is dedicated to providing, I'm not going to read the thing on the board, but we're against harassing people, and if you notice someone that feels uncomfortable, let one of the organisers know. Yeah, if you have any concerns, you can also use the code of contact link at the bottom, and there's a form there, an anonymous form. The toilets are out the door to the right, and the emergency exits are there as well, so in case something bad happens. If you see someone with a blue tag, it means they're new here. Make them feel welcome, and if you see someone with a little organizer tag, it means they're not so new here, and they'll make you feel welcome. As Box said before, if you've got any questions during the presentations, wait till afterwards. There'll be normal question time, and we'll hand microphones around so people online can hear the questions. You ask the questions in the hashtag Melbourne Meetup group on Slack, which I have not mentioned, but yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, great. But I don't know the intro to like how the Slacks got merged and now we're one big Slack. But I think maybe that's common knowledge now. Okay. Thank you to our sponsors. So our gold sponsor, Mantle Group. We couldn't do it without you. And our silver sponsor this year is REA Group. Thank you very much. Some other social events happening this month. Coding Night, which has been rebranded. That is next Wednesday. That will be here as well. Are we doing a Vision Pro thing? James is downstairs. There might be Vision Pro stuff on next Wednesday. Yeah, okay. So that's more just a casual night. And do work on your side projects, and it's with Google's Meetup group and the Flutter Meetup group as well. And there's also the CocoaHeads Social Night, which is Tuesday, 26th of March at the Imperial.
Sounds good.
Yep. And that is, yeah. 2 Tuesdays away. Thank you, Tubbs. And then some other groups that are now combined. Oh, well, not Google's one, but the Sydney CocoaHeads is on the same Slack, and Google Developer Group Melbourne.com. There's probably some other ones. Great work, guys. How to find us, that's it. That's what I was going for. MelbourneCocoaHeads.com, and on there's a link to Slack. And on Mastodon, at Melbourne@CocoaHeads.social. Great. Here's more Slack information. We're looking for speakers. So if anyone's keen to do a talk, jump on hashtag speakers and let us know. And, oh, I'm not going to show the next slide because I haven't updated it. But it is box slide.
Just do it.
No, because it says the one from last month, but it just has a Vision Pro on it. It doesn't make any sense. I mustn't have hit save. The next slide is a picture of a Vision Pro SF symbol, and underneath it says box. I'm just going to go back to the thing because it's the same thing here. There we are. Rob Amos, porting your app to Vision Pro and using the Vision Pro. He's in the zone though, so.
There's so much stuff to do when you do this.
I'll describe this for the online viewers. Box wearing the headset. Yeah, and he's.
More Robo-Box.
Yeah. And now he's, watch the edge, buddy. Watch the edge.
Pat, you haven't warned the audience. We're not allowed to throw popcorn at him while he's wearing the...
Can't throw anything.
All right, I'm going to switch over.
Okay, thank God.
Press buttons and cool things happen.
Can you see yourselves?
Yep. Yes.
Hi, Mum.
All right. So this is going to be weird, or at least this used to be weird. Unfortunately for me, this is the third time I'm doing this, so it's not so weird anymore. It's getting quite normal. All right, so because you can see what I can see, obviously as I move my head, it's going to move around a bit. If it gets too much, let me know. We do have a backup plan for this, but it's going to work a whole lot better if we can keep them on. So I try and keep my head still. So yes, we have Vision Pro. We've had one at ANZ for a couple of weeks now, and we've all had a little bit of a play with it. And we were a bit short on content tonight, so I'll put my hand up to do a quick demo. For those who don't know me, I go by Bok mostly. My real name's Rob. Most people forget that, but that's all right. I'm one of the organisers here. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do is port an iPad version of an app, personal app that I've got, to the Vision Pro using all the native good bits, and we're going to do it obviously wearing the Vision Pro. So step one is to get my laptop to disconnect from the stupid VPN so that I can start. So if you haven't seen the Vision Pro in person before, it works pretty well. We won't go into any of the immersive environment stuff here, although that's pretty good. Where am I going? We'll just get Xcode going. So first thing I want to do is connect to the laptop and get the laptop screen going. Yeah, cool. I remember my notes now. Control Center, mirror the Mac, this one. So now you won't be able to see it, but my laptop screen, well, you can see it. My laptop screen's disappeared, and now what's in my Mac is now a virtual window in space. And we can move that around. We can stick that over there if we want. We can throw it all the way down the back of the room. Oh, that's about as far as it goes. But that's still a 3-meter high macOS desktop, which is a bit much. Let's bring that back a bit closer. But it actually works, I find, really, really well, especially if you're using your laptop, like actually on your lap, and instead of staring down at the screen, you're looking at a virtual window, and you can move it as it seems comfortable. What am I doing here? Right. So this is a personal app that I've built because I can't use anything work-related for this demo. It's basically a little F1 calendar app. It's designed for widgets mostly on iOS, but for Vision OS there are no widgets, so we're just going to port the iPad app version. That's going to, apologies, that is going to send it to the simulator. I want it to run on the actual device. So I did this as a test, a couple of tests. It takes about 10 minutes to do, so it's not too bad for this one, thankfully. But hopefully the goal is to give you an idea of what's actually required to get it going. So this is the iPad version. I'm going to slip that over there. If the video drops out at any point too, please let me know, because I can't see that. Now, unfortunately, the whole deploying and running things on physical hardware is all done with Wi-Fi, because there's no cable to plug in with, unless you spend the extra $300 on one. But this is it. So this is the iPad version of the app. You can tell it's got the full white. It's not using any of the native Vision Pro controls. And this is just a little personal app that has the F1 calendar effectively in it. A bit of information about the race, the track, just for pretty graphics, so it didn't look like it was a completely empty screen. But the important bit for this was the data that's in there. So that's that one. I'm going to leave that running over there on the side for now. I need to recenter my thing. I'll bring it back up outside of Xcode. So it shows up in this little compatible apps bit. So let's pop that up again and put that back over there. So we're going to refer back to that as we go. So the first thing you want to do when you want to port your app to Vision Pro is to go up to your target. And I do have notes here that I'm going to refer back to. Yep. So what we want to do is get rid of this design for iPad compatibility mode, because that's what you're seeing over there. All iPads run that way, and actually Apple opts you into them by default, so you have to explicitly go in and turn this off if you don't want your app to appear in Vision Pro. So we've got to turn that off, and instead we want to add Apple Vision, but using the native Apple Vision bit. And it does mention Swift UI there, but it does work just fine for UIKit. Just says it will be updated, yada yada. Turn that on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to change what's actually embedded, but I can't change that because you need to reload the screen because Xcode. So we're going to change this. So with the Vision OS, you can't embed a watchOS app, and you cannot use widgets at this time, which is a shame because I think widgets would be very helpful for this. So we're just going to go in and turn those off, allow any platform, just iOS for those. Same here, allow any platform. Otherwise, we're going to just get errors. That's just going to break. Cool, so that's it. So in theory, you could now build and run that. We are not going to do that because it's just going to break. What did I have next on my list? Oh yeah. The next thing we're going to do, and we'll take care of this because I will forget it otherwise, and then it will look ugly, is our icons. So you'll see in your normal app icon that you have, if we drop that up, you can see normally you have your iOS, macOS, watchOS, they're all unified. Unfortunately, Vision OS doesn't work that way. We need to add a separate one for Vision OS. And what's different about it, and you might have seen this with some other platforms, but it's one icon, but it has a front, a middle, and a back. And it shows up as a pseudo 3D, so you can actually see that if I go to, it might be difficult to see, but the Voyager one shows it really well. When I look between Voyager and TestFlight, you can see they pop a little bit. So that's the 3D effect that you get from from running that. So now we get to spend 10 minutes drawing an icon. No, just kidding. Nobody wants to watch that, so I made one already for it. Where is it? Icon. So you saw the icon on the previous screen. Nope, that's not the right one. I want back. So the requirements for this is the back must be opaque. It can't be transparency at all, or it's going to throw an error. And then I just went really, really basic, put a little shadow in the middle, and a white at the front. So it looks like this one, but a little bit thingy. And I didn't realize you could do this until last night when I did it by accident, but you can actually preview it in 3D. So you can kind of see what it will look like as you go around. Okay, that's that. What else is next? Build it. All right, let's build. So with this app, like with a lot of apps, it's multi-platform. It supports iOS and watchOS, which means there's going to be a lot of conditional compilation directives, like this one. Is that code big enough for everybody? I can bump the font size up. Bump it up. Bump it up. I could always just make the window bigger too, but then I have to move my head more. So we're missing a navigation path, and this is probably what, when you port your app to Vision OS, is going to be deciding what you want your Vision OS experience to be. So I've got two options here because the watchOS one is a lot flatter structure. It has a separate navigation path, but I want to more closely follow the I'm typing blind because I'm not recentering myself because it moves the thing around. So I want to more closely follow the iOS path, which means the next thing to do is I can build and go again, but we're just going to keep hitting more of these. So let's go through and just deal with these one at a time. So this is the calendar list race cell. So if we go back to our app over here, the calendar list is this view here, which is just a list view of the exact same data that was there before. So we can go through this, we can say, all right, we want to show the race name and the flag. we don't want to just hide that like we do on watchOS. So yep, we'll copy the iOS thing for that. And there's one more up here too. And we do like our group style, or I like the group style first of plain, so we'll copy that as well. That's not available for watchOS, that's why it's compiled out. Okay, next one. That was calendar list, yeah. So calendar view is the main screen that sits over the top of this, but I think it actually does a few more bits and pieces as well. So we'll go through these one by one. What have we got here? Do we want to hide the navigation back button? More than likely, yes. We want to copy the iOS user experience where we can. We want the toolbar to have all the series stuff on the left. Yeah, and we want the thumbnail switcher on the right, so we don't copy the watchOS one for that. So we'll go iOS as well. Did I paste that? Yep, good. Just to make it nice, because otherwise I'll end up committing this demo code and then it'll look bad. The default view out of the two that's in that picker, we want it to be thumbnails because thumbnails looks nicer. Easy peasy. Next is the race view. So let's have a look at this one. Oh. So let's look at Australia. We want the header at the top. The header, I believe, has it has the race image, it has the name, it has the calendar button and everything. So we want to keep all of that. So let's pop that in there. Which means we want the header. We want the header view there. What else is there? We want the grouped list. I like group lists. We want to copy the rest of the navigation pattern for iOS, so that's good. And that won't compile because we're missing the extension that's down here as well. Easy peasy. Now I think that should actually be everything. No, we want to make copy the iOS app experience too, so we'll put that there. Great, so now that should build. While that's building, and fingers crossed it actually builds, a couple of things that I want to point out, or things to look out for. I can just see Tups in the corner, can't see anybody else. This is harder than demo. This is like demoing when you're doing a Teams presentation or a Zoom call. Can't see anybody. Things to look out for, right? So this is a fairly easy one, but there's some stuff that it just doesn't support. So the obvious one is there is no UI screen from UIKit for this because there is no screen. It's just windows in space. So UI screen doesn't work for Vision OS. So any code you've got that uses that will need to be refactored out to support Vision OS. There is no keyboard window. That's a surprise one for me because there is a keyboard, but because it's a physically separate window, and I can show you that. Let's find something that has, what did I have open in Safari last time? Pollen count, cool. That was danger for a second there. There should be, no, it's bad demo because it's actually, something that surprised me is that the universal control works over it too. So you can actually just send your keyboard and mouse straight up to Vision Pro, which is good and bad. Bad because you're trying to click on stuff in Xcode, but you're looking at a window over there and it doesn't like it at all. But at the keyboard, it pops up as a virtual window over the top in its own space. It's a fully separate window, so there's no keyboard management for Vision OS. And then what was the last one that I had? Last one that I wanted to talk about, haptics. Haptics are different. Obviously, there's nothing you want to vibrate on people's face, so you can't use any of the haptic APIs. Okay, that's all done. Let's build and run, because that was successful. So that will disappear. Let's pop that up. We've now got the different shape, because it's using the default aspect ratio for a Vision OS app. Still takes just as long to load, unfortunately. But you'll see it's now using all of the native components. So gone is the white background, and now we've got the glass-like effects. You can see it's done some weird stuff with the button and the different button overlays and the stuff that's there. This doesn't look as cool as it could either. Like that's fixed and not too good, but it actually that renders really nicely. So yeah, it builds and run. We've got that far, but there's some optimizations we could do to this. So let's start on this screen and clean up some stuff. What was I going to do? Oh yes. First thing I want to do is we want to go to the race view. So we'll start on this screen. I want to make this look a bit more full because we've got a lot of white space there on either side of the bar. So just make that. Oh. What else did I have? Non-sticky header, standard nav bar, hide nav calendar button. Yeah, right. Okay, so this also, well, let's build around that because I think it's a bit more obvious when you do it again. The other thing that's a bit annoying is because this is a new window every time, it's not going to go back over there. You have to pick it up and move it back over there. So we'll see now that we've made the images a bit bigger, that it's going to cause some navigation problems. Like we try to scroll this and it's stuck, right? So that's not ideal. So we want it, probably on Vision OS, having the sticky header is not as nice as it is on the smaller device for iOS where you're using it in Portrait. So let's get rid of that. First things first, the header lives here, it lives outside of list, which is how you do the sticky header in SwiftUI. So we want to move this in, oops, move this inside the list so it's part of the scroll. Make that over there. And for Vision OS. So now we've got, for iOS, the header is sticky on the top. For Vision OS, it's now inside the list, so it should scroll. That means we probably, like that's having the, now that this scrolls, that means that that sticky calendar bar button that we've used to replace the back button is going to disappear as well. So let's just go back to standard navigation. Like it's nice, but it's not worth the extra effort. So we make that back for iOS. And there was one more thing I needed to do with that. Where is it? I think that's it actually. All right, so let's build and run that. Well, go back over there. Okay, so that looks a whole lot better. We just can scroll, we've got everything there. Now, something that I didn't realize you could really do until more recently is this is nice, lovely to look at, and we can make it bigger now so we can see huge track maps. But you can actually, and I'm going to live dangerously here, get right up in there. Like you can get right up and inspect your UI up close, see how well it goes. And then the last bit that you can actually do, which I also didn't realize, is when you're this close, you can just interact as you would normally. And I made it way too big for me to be able to reach the back button. Right? I'm not sure why you would ever want to do this because it's physical effort, but hey, it makes for a good demo. Like you can get right in there. All right, so let's clean this screen up. And then that's pretty much where I want to get it to, I think. So obviously the default buttons for SwiftUI are doing some capsule stuff that's there. So we want to go to, whoops, the thumbnails view, I think. It's this one. Somewhere here, right? Nope. Put it in my notes. Calendar thumbnails. Yeah, okay, it is calendar thumbnails. Oh, it's in the navigation. Here we go. So the navigation link that's here, right? So that's what's creating the buttons like that. So what we want to do is, and every time I do that, my keyboard input goes over there, which is annoying. For Vision OS, I'm trying really hard not to look down at my keyboard every time I want to recenter my hands. For Vision OS, we want to go let's clean that up before I forget. We want to go button style to be borderless, and we want the button border shape. So instead of that default capsule to be round and rect. I think that was everything I had to do on this one. Yeah. So let's pop that back over there. So that's much nicer. You can see now it's not showing the buttons by default, but when I look at each one, it will do the highlight that it normally does. That comes through. Cool, so there is one last thing that we could do better. And I will go back to, what's a good example of this? Let's go photos. Everybody loves to see photos of my dog, right? Let's go over here. So you can see on this one that they don't have the split view for changing selections. They've got the tab bar on the very left-hand side. That's the the preferred UI paradigm for Vision OS. So fortunately, it's fairly easy for us to do that here. Now, where was it? So the first thing I want to do is go back to the root of my app, which I just made cross-platform. We probably don't want to do that. We want it to be just iOS. And then I'm going to make I should have made some background music for this talk. Vision OS version. It's quite rhythmic, isn't it? Vision OS version of the same thing, right? So now I have 3 platforms, 3 different things. So we want to make this a tab bar. Fortunately, this is all the same, so don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to make this a tab view. I need it to be, selection will be our existing state that we're using. Something that I always forget is that you can't use an optional with a tab view, it has to be a normal. So that's good. For our content, for each, no. We want it to be series.display cases, so all of the cases that are there. Series, you know what I should have done? I should have let it autocomplete, because now I forget what a tab view looks like. I'm going to do that again. Tab view. Thank you. That's better. Now I know what I'm doing. Even though I don't like how it does it. Yeah, right. Okay. I was very close. So we want the contents of the tab, which is the navigation stack that we have here. Pop that up into the for each. We need a tab item after that. Tab item. We can take our existing label that we've got, pop that there, and then finally we tag the series that we have input. And then we can delete all of this crap. So we're just switching from a split view to a tab view. Build and run. And I think this is the last thing I have on my list, yeah. So here. That's it. Now we have the tab view on the left-hand side. Looks much more native. We've got the content front and center, nothing taking it up. If I were to start optimizing this some more, I would probably look at, changing the default size of the window, because we are windowed, much like macOS now. Changing the default size of the window to something that suits the content a bit more, keeping in mind that people can change it. And other macOS stuff that you need to do, like setting a minimum window size, because that's not helpful to anybody, right? And that's it. That's everything that I wanted to run through. Does anybody have any questions? And I'm just going to put that up there.
I have a question. Oh, never mind.
Yes, please.
I was going to ask where the microphones were. Any questions? Any other questions?
Alex in the corner. No, other Alex.
So
Yeah, that doesn't come. It just goes through the.
okay. So the question. So thanks for the demo. It's awesome. For those of us that don't have these awesome things, what's a simulator look like, and how does it develop it look like?
It's not anywhere near as good. So you can build and run in the simulator. And it basically just comes up with a window with a virtual living room in it, and then it just has a window in the middle. And so moving around is not as good. you're looking at a tiny iPhone or iPad simulator size thing for something that is actually quite expressive. So when I did this demo for both, because that was my backup player if I had to go that, it's a lot harder to see detail and nuance in the simulator than it is to see in the real thing.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? Go for it.
So the question I've got, it kind of blew my mind in the point where we saw the icon very tvOS-like.
Yep.
So makes you wonder, is this something they've been working on, or is it just something they've adapted for Vision OS?
It's a very good question. I have no
Any
idea.
thoughts?
Might be a question for our panelists after this.
Hey, can you show us your persona, dude? Is he on it?
You want to make it even more weird? All right, yeah, we can do that. How are we for time? We've got plenty of time, so I can do some little bit of other stuff over there. Let's get that out of the way. So yes, it does come with all of the persona stuff. We can. I signed into a Teams call with it on Friday and freaked all of my team members out. It was quite good. But we can do a quick demo of it here. Whoops. So if we look at persona, can I make that bigger? No, I can't make it bigger. There we go. But it's actually really weird, right? It's using the under cameras to record, and you've got your hands as well. One hand, two hands. It's using the... Sorry?
Yeah.
I can't. It's not... You can't resize the... I could probably walk into it. Here we go. It's a bit... But it's using... like it is fully 3D, which is weird. Very weird when it scans your face for it. But it's using the under cameras, so if I do weird things with my mouth, it does reflect that. So even though I can't really see that, if I wink, it's recording your eyes and tracking all of that, raising my eyebrows. Like, it's really, really weird. It's very uncanny valley. Like, actually, my hair looks pretty good. I did all right.
I want this buck all the time.
This is what you're going to get all the time. So yes, that's there. Was there anything anybody else wanted to see while we're here?
Can we see the eyes?
You'd have to come up
Okay.
to do that. I can't put that on the screen. Actually, it is on the screen. If you hit the shrink button,
The eyes aren't that good. I don't see any.
We've got no eyes.
got no eyes? Yeah. They're not that obvious. Like, they're very not obvious. To the point where this screen is pretty much useless as far as I'm concerned. They've put all of that weight on the device and it's not there. Anything else?
I think it just dropped out.
It timed it perfectly. It says it's still mirroring, so that's all right. All right, thank you very much. Oh no, the light's too fresh.
Do you want me to turn the lights on here? Or
Yeah, for the panel, I think we'll turn it on there.
stage. Oh, Kira. What's Kira's last name? Fleming, that's it. Yeah. And then Bock. Rob Amos.
Who has no last name?
Yeah.
Just Bock.
You'll run the questions. I'll
Yes.
sit down over there.
Yep.
But yeah. Oh, do you want to use these?
I've still got this one. They all need to use those.
Well, no one's going to be able to hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, short on content, so this is a great way to discuss some stuff that people actually might be interested in. For some people who've had a chance to have some hands-on experience with it. Have you built anything for it yet, Fletch?
No, just
No,
played.
just played?
Yeah.
That's all right, still valuable. So I guess we'll just chat. I've got some questions around experiences and that sort of stuff, but we're just really here to chat. So Kira looks keen to go. So what's your first impressions, Kira? You got to use it last week.
Before I start, I just want to say, just thank you, Bok, for that amazing demo. That kind of demo is so like to run Xcode on your face, to have apps going, and to
And
run
manage
this,
the broadcast.
and manage the broadcast. That is amazing. So yeah, thank you, Bok, for
Not
that.
doing that again. That was too much.
Okay, so, okay, and I'm sure everyone in the audience has watched the reviews or read the reviews, and a lot of the reviews are, they're saying like, it's amazing, but it's not there yet. And after using it, you really get that feeling. There are so many things that are so good, and as a technologist, you know that it is the state of the art, but still you're like, oh, the pass-through for me is very blurry and very desaturated, very watered out. And when I took it off, I was so thankful that my eyes were so much better in real life and I could see things properly. And I couldn't imagine living in this thing the way that reviewers have done, right? I couldn't get it off my face
My
fast
eyes
enough
feel
to
very
be-
naked right now. I could really
Oh,
just put it back
really?
on, yeah.
You'd want it back.
Could go back. Fletch, what are you?
I was amazed how easy it was to onboard. You know, the whole eye tracking and how quick that was. You know, I don't know if anyone's tried this out, but starts with, I think it's 6 or 8 dots around your track, then cranks up the brightness, which will shrink your pupil. I imagine that's the reason for it. Check it again, and then a third time with a much brighter screen. But the accuracy of the eye tracking was quite impressive. Heavy, and gets hot, surprisingly. But I found it wasn't as disorientating as I feared it would be.
Yeah, I found you do get used to it after a while. Like I've had to reboot it a couple of times when I was trying to figure out why Xcode wouldn't connect to it, because Xcode. And when it turns off, like you kind of had, holy crap, my eyes have gone blind sort of moment. You forget that it's a screen going there.
Yeah, putting on my glasses on and off give me more disorientation than putting the goggles on.
But I do have to agree, it is quite heavy. I think I'm starting to get used to it after 2 weeks. Which
Even
is
without
weird.
the head strap on top.
Even without the head strap on top. So I think I am starting to get used to it, and I do like it in some specific situations. Like it's better than typing like this on a screen that's down here. It's better when my wife insists that I be in bed with her, but she doesn't want me to have my laptop screen on.
That's not better.
It works. when you've got the stuff, you got to do a demo at 9 a.m. the next morning. It's better. Saves the arguments. But yeah, you know, I think, like Kira said, there's a lot of potential there. It's definitely V1 hardware. And yeah, if it was lighter, I would buy one for myself, but not at that weight, I don't think.
Yeah, we can certainly imagine the non-pro without the screen in front, you know, maybe a little bit cheaper, save a bit of resolution, and make that a product that everyone will want. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
can
there's
see that.
definitely some weight savings there. Get rid of the front screens, they're useless. I'm not sure how many people realize, but the actual screens that you look at on the inside are motorized, so they will adjust to the perfect position for your eyes. That adds weight. If you're going to go through and do a custom fitting for the light shield, maybe they should just do that and manufacture it specific to you, save some weight. Stuff like that.
And switching from person to person is a little bit, you know, tricky. You've got to retune it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but you know, it's just not that easy to share around.
No, it's definitely not
you
easy
pass
to
it
share
to
around.
someone and it works immediately.
But I thought it was actually good that you could do that they thought of that, having the guest mode
Yeah,
there, that
guest
you can
mode's
switch
great.
it straight on. Because, yeah, Lord knows we wouldn't be able to have one without everybody wanting to get their photo taken doing this. It's weird.
When Baz put it on, the first thing he did was put up Guardians of the Galaxy, and seeing that in semi 3D was quite amazing.
So have either of you used other VR headsets, and how does they compare to
Ooh,
Vision
okay.
Pro?
I've used a few of these. I mean, the first one I used was Oculus DK2. When that was just like a prototype basically that they decided to sell. Yeah, back when Oculus was a tiny little company, right? And that made me want to throw up, right? The experience was so poor. I used it for about 5 minutes and went, no, it's not happening at all. And I was sick for about an hour. And with the Vision Pro, I wasn't that sick. So
Just a little bit. That's a selling point.
little bit nauseous. I mean, okay, so there's this article that came out about 2 days ago talking about gender differences in nausea from VR headsets, and talking about how companies are spending billions on these things, but without doing a lot of research, particularly putting the blame onto Meta for not even trying to understand. And you would think that Apple probably has done the research but is not releasing anything on it. Certainly you can imagine a V2 might even get there if they can work on this a little bit more. But yeah, I found that very interesting. I mean, crucially, it depends on the software as well. It depends on the experience. If you're moving around, that's going to be challenging for a lot of people.
Yeah, I used the Microsoft. I can't even think what that was.
The
or is.
HoloLens.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was just so not engaging.
No.
To try to use it. Like, yeah, try it on. Yeah, okay. That's
Is that more of a
Not very
VR thing,
So
or is that a mixed reality
Well, no,
thing?
HoloLens
it
is
had a-
AR,
semi-transparent
Yeah.
screen kind
so you
of
can
thing.
see the
Oh.
full world,
Yeah.
but then you've got what actually projects in your vision is this tiny little window, this big.
Oh, like a Google Glass sort of thing. You just had that thing in the corner.
Yes.
It was full view,
Right, okay.
but just terrible contrast. Just not really great at all.
I mean, we can see this, and we can see that Apple wanted to do a full AR that is a window into the real world, but you can't do that very easily. There are physics problems there.
But I think they've done a very good job of the non-distortion,
Yeah.
which must be very hard to get right.
I think, having used it now, it's just the amount of effort that they've obviously put into making it feel as natural as they can must be pretty significant, because you don't notice it a lot of the time. You can, but it's
Yeah.
not as, doesn't sound like as bad as the other ones that you've tried.
Oh no, the experience is stunning for that. I mean, yeah, granted it can be a bit blurry, the past can be a bit blurry, but it doesn't feel like you're not in the real world. It's clear that they went for that, and yeah, look, have succeeded given the technology available. Yeah.
And when you do go full immersive, then you're not in the real world, because it doesn't feel like you're in the real world.
I was suffering more of the Blair Witch Project by seeing your head move
Yeah.
around on the screen than I was actually wearing it.
I could see it in the corner of my eyes that even though I felt like I was standing perfectly still, it was still moving a bit, but my eyes were compensating for that, and everything was just
There
flat.
is some mode in there when you're on a plane to help keep it steady.
Oh, okay.
I did read something about that in one of the reviews, saying if you're using it on a plane, turn this mode on and you get less. Yeah,
Ah, I did see that and wondered what it was for.
so it might help to stop as much fine-grained movement.
That could be helpful to know. Hopefully I never have to give a demo like that again, but I'll look into that next time. So, do either of you see much potential in the platform, either for spatial computing or for immersive applications? Like, what would you expect to see coming?
There's a bunch of stuff I'd like to be doing, but I can't yet because you don't get direct feed from the camera.
Yep.
So that's the limiting factor for me. I'd love to be using it in warehouses. There's all sorts of opportunities that it could be used. We'd love to play with it, but yeah, just so limiting for that reason. I understand why the reason's there. Getting feed from the camera is a privacy issue and so many other things. But maybe we'll see something come in.
You can get the surface information of everything that's around there, but yeah, obviously no detail on the
Yeah,
surfaces
if I could
themselves.
start to do things with QR codes and identifying things, it could be really interesting.
Yep.
There might be ways to kind of do a little bit of hacking on that. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I can't pry it out of my boss's hands for long enough to play with.
It sounds like your company's going the route of buying one for everybody, just so you can scan QR codes.
Well, funnily enough, like a lot of the equipment we use in the warehouse, you pay, what, $5,000 for a Zebra scanner thing that's able to be used in a freezer, so it's got a heated battery and things, but it's $5,000 and we have to buy them all day long for warehouse usage, so it's not that crazy.
Not sure how well Vision Pro would go in a freezer, but
True.
yeah. And Kira?
Just on the Zebra, Vision Pro is probably less likely to be run over by a forklift as well.
Yes, but less robust when it happens.
Yeah, look, I can certainly see if there were camera access, you could do a lot. Like, you can imagine, and this has been talked about for a little while, but to do this at the quality that the Vision Pro lets you have, you can imagine a building site. If you're an architect and you're talking to the builders and you can go, okay, the pipes are meant to be here, what's happening here, the cables are going here, and you can visualize it at every stage of that build.
And those can be $1 million mistakes, so
Yeah,
if you can
yeah.
visualize them.
Yeah,
$3,000 headset doesn't seem that much.
it's nothing. But yes, crucially, you need that camera access to be able to do it. You need to recognize what the user sees to give the benefit. I mean, to do a augmented reality, mixed reality thing, but there's no way for the software to interact with that reality. You hope something will change. You hope it'll get better there.
Yeah, like all of the things that I would want out of it too. Like the only app idea I've got is for real world ad blocking, and that would require access to that as well. Walking down the street, see a billboard, now it's a cat.
It would be the best app. I'm so keen.
99 cents. I'm all over it, but I need the camera access. WWDC this year is apparently all about AI, so maybe this will feed into that. Maybe they just don't quite have the processing power yet or the tools to be able to pass, 60 frames a second coming off the spatial cameras and stuff. Maybe. It's not that far. We'll see what happens.
I mean, certainly, and we've talked about entertainment. Yeah, and Apple doing things with the NBA. Yeah, that is going to be amazing. Like, anyone can picture that. Courtside seats. Would you pay $100 for that?
Stats
Yeah,
in the
done.
corner of your eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would absolutely pay
Yeah.
for that to
No
watch the
doubt
Formula
about it.
One. Like
Well, one seat costs
immersive,
more
like
than
I'm in
that.
the corner, like in a stand watching, get the camera feeds, multiple camera feeds up.
What about
That
in
info.
the car next to the driver?
No, see now we've had this one too before, right? They already have the 3D cameras on top of the cars. So if you were streaming that into your Vision Pro and then the car has an accident, it would be the first case of PTSD from watching a sporting event. Maybe not the first case, but that gets into the weird territory, very weird territory.
Hey, it's a weird world. We've all seen it. We've all seen Bok wear this thing. Yeah, we're in that world right now.
You rode around the office now?
No, I'm not that game. We have a separate area where we will do that, but I won't wear it at my desk because I know I'm just going to get questions.
Is it a personal device or a work device?
That's a work device. So do either of you have any plans to build anything for it?
Short term? No, not until I get a serious amount of time.
And it's actually available in Australia?
Well, yeah,
That
I'm
would
sure
help.
we can get enough of them in if we needed it, but yeah, lots of thoughts, no immediate plans.
Yeah.
I think the plan is to get Unreal Engine or get some kind of game engine and make something amazing in it. I think that is the opportunity for now. Having seen it, so there is a demo which a lot of people talked about where there's dinosaurs, there's a butterfly that lands on your finger. It is amazing. It is like very hard to explain. The visuals that it draws are stunning. It is amazing. Only limitation is probably the 3D engine, which Unreal would fix. yeah, I really think there is something in there, and obviously Apple is wanting to do spatial computing, but a games platform, I'm so keen for.
I think there might be a thing there too, is that everybody else is trying to do games, but Apple is a computer company, so they can do both. Well, that's what I think
Yes.
that's what they're trying for.
Yes.
And they may sell more if it's actually more real-world utilities beyond gaming. But I guess
Some
we'll
people
see.
spend a lot of money on gaming computers, so
They do. Absolutely, they do. We'll see how that goes through. Have you ever encountered any WTF moments when you've been using it so far? Like for me, when I first accidentally moved my mouse wheel into a virtual window because I was connected, that was like a holy shit moment.
you haven't spent enough time with it to dig in deep.
No?
I feel like, okay, so naturally I want to swipe windows like this. I want to move them around. You have to physically look at them, grab them, and then do the thing with them. And you've used it more, so it's something that I'm sure you get used to.
You do get used to it, but I think, yeah, it wasn't expected that it only tracks your hands when you're pinching. If your hands aren't pinched, it's not looking at them at all, which I guess is good, bad. No, it's not really that intuitive the first time you do it. We had some grads doing it out today, and they all did the same thing. They just wanted to get up there and swipe it the same way, which is all you can do. You've just got to get right up in there, like physically put your hand through the screen to do it. But I think it's been pretty good. Do you have any advice for anybody that's thinking about getting one or thinking about building stuff for it? Things to think about?
I think one of the things is the audience to start with. If you're going to build anything for it at the moment, the audience is probably extremely limited, so it's not really it's more of a passion than a...
There's no money in it, you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no money in the App Store anyway, so... as sad as it is.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like, yeah. How do you give business advice to someone wanting to make an app? That's...
Doesn't
These
have
people
to be
have
business
money.
advice.
We know that they have money, right? Yeah, look, I love the idea of making random fun things for it, but that's kind of incompatible with paying $6,000 for a device. Look, I think, yeah, going back to Unreal Engine, it's free. Have fun, muck around with it. I think doing iOS to do something different is really fun. If you're doing iOS in your day job, do some Unreal Engine for fun, right? Instead of doing more iOS. I think that's the advice I would give someone. Just, yeah, muck around with something different. And that skill will help.
Cool. We've still got plenty of time. So if the audience, does anybody in the audience have any questions they want to ask about the device in general, not just about building for it?
It's still going to be online.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's always online.
Oh,
But you can just tell your question to Pat and he can...
we can talk.
I've got a. Has there been a successful app right now? Like something that took off?
Define successful.
Well, you know how wasn't there like a what were the first iPad like iPhone apps that like
The
made a
beer-
Like
bunch?
the beer app.
The beer
Yeah,
app,
like the beer app. What's the beer app?
Jordan tells me the DJ app's fantastic.
Okay.
That costs money and I haven't put a credit card on it.
I keep hearing about the television app.
Yes.
The Apple TV app is pretty cool.
No,
there's-
there's an app called television.
Oh, yeah?
Which virtual televisions?
So
can put
you pop a retro television set
Yeah.
somewhere in your space and you can watch that television. I think it's kooky and fun, like which we need more of. Yeah.
There's definitely some cool stuff there. My favorite at the moment is the Voyager app. Can't remember the full name of it, where it paints a 3D disc of an airport, and it uses the live air traffic data to render 3D planes moving in and out of it. And when I found it last Friday, I just sat there for like an hour watching it. It was Friday afternoon, had a beer, it was just relaxing.
Can't find one for trains.
But no, there you go. There's an app idea.
There you go, done.
Just got to get the 3D models for it.
No,
But I think as an entertainment device is probably where it's going to be in the short term. There's something good about lying on your back and watching TV on the ceiling. It's interesting. Alex?
Is there any
like way to start learning about like 3D apps or like 3D interfaces for apps, like I don't know, in different planes, like you could have an interface in different planes, and you so instead of a flat, just one face. And if you know about any platform that is doing something like that, what will be your recommendations to learn about it?
Just use an iPhone, iPad. The same tools that you use for Vision OS is Reality Kit. It's available for iOS. That's probably where they've been testing it for the last several years, to be fair. Obviously, it looks a bit weird, rendered flat than it would on the device, but it's all the same technology.
Thanks.
But yeah, the thought of more of a three-dimensional interface is an interesting idea. Everything seems so far very single-planed.
Yeah, for spatial computing, they've definitely ported our existing computing model, probably for familiarity more than anything, into like rendered 2D windows of the world. What does a 3D UI look like? Good question.
And it is amazing how similar to Apple TV it is with the the selection areas, and there's obviously big crossovers between the two platforms.
One of the killer apps that we did have a while back, I think it was called Tilt Brush, which was like a 3D painting app, right? So you could say, this 3D space is my canvas and I'm going to paint, and you could walk around your artwork. So there have been some amazing artworks done in that kind of thing.
I
love
have
that
tested
sort.
something that does that, and it's surprisingly difficult.
Oh yeah, it's a challenge.
Because I'm looking at you. I was just trying to draw text, right? But I kept bringing my hand closer and closer, so it just kept like it was on a slant.
Yeah, I think all those optimizations about hand movements are very much, been done by Apple about finger movements, not really about fine-grained tracking your hands.
Yep.
Although, how easily does the keyboard work, virtual keyboard? I haven't tried that.
How easy does the?
How easy is it to use the virtual keyboard?
You're still looking and pinching, or you're doing this, trying to pinch, like
It's
poke
not
through
a-
the keyboard. It's not
Not a
good.
10-finger
That's
typing
probably
exercise.
why they've got the universal control there, which works incredibly well. And it supports the full Bluetooth stack, so I'm sure you could just connect a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse if you wanted.
Can you record what's on the screen, or only if you've got it hooked up to something?
No, there's same as iOS. There's a record thing in Control Center. You can
Yeah, I
record
think
it.
there was a bit of talk about that in the App Store videos, that some people were able to get some very early real videos rather than just simulator videos. And there was questions about how did you get that.
You don't talk about that. But one thing I didn't talk about is I did demo is the capturing the spatial videos or the spatial photos. That's actually really cool. Watching them back, like it does feel like you're sitting in the space where you took the video, watching it again. It's so weird.
One thing that I'm not sure if you mentioned at the start was the focus, like it focuses a particular area that's more high resolution. I think that was kind of more noticeable when you're watching it on the projector.
Yes.
Yes.
But
yes.
Because you try to look at the blurry bit and it focuses on it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just curious how that, if you recorded the screen, how that ends up looking like. What's
The same.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you push both buttons to take a screenshot.
Yeah.
So all of the screenshots that I've had, you can easily see that. For some reason, it doesn't do it at all with the iPad apps in compatibility mode. It just renders those flat. But for the native apps, it does do the focal rendering bits.
Any more questions?
Cool. Wrap it up, Pat.
Awesome.
Oh,
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Put a ribbon on it.
Plug in.
good to go.
Okay, thank you for coming, everyone. Just to remind you guys that coding night's next Wednesday, social night 2 Tuesdays away, March 26th at the Imperial. And thanks again to our sponsors, Mantle Group and REA Group. Couldn't do it without you. And now, social time at a nearby venue, the Mitre Tavern. So if you're up for that, join us. Thanks all for coming and tuning in.
See you next month.
Thanks for all.